Hey, it's Darren with WeAudition.com here. I'm here with Jemma Moore, who is joining me from the UK. Hi, Jemma.
Hello.
And I wanted to speak to Jemma because she had some pretty big news last year, I believe. She's in the film Wonder Woman, which a few of you may have heard of. And that was after being discovered by the ABC Discover Showcase, yep?
Yeah, well, that was just before, but it was a very small little. It was a very niche sort of role. I'm one of the only female horse riders who's Chinese in Europe, so that was
That,
just before ABC.
oh,
But
that's
I
super
think it was,
specific.
yeah, very niche, very specific.
So you did Wonder Woman before the ABC Discovers?
Yeah, but I was just as an action rider, and then I got like a nice little. While I was there, Paddy Jenkins actually got us riding around next to the Fantastic Beast set, and then just was like sort of interviewed everyone who was an action rider. There were people there who'd never been on a film set before in their life, and
Oh,
she
wow.
actually just like picked me out of everyone and was like, "Come and join the Queen's Guard."
That's
That
amazing. And then
yeah, that
from
was
from getting picked by Paddy Jenkins on that movie, tell me how the ABC Discovers thing came about and what you had to go through in that process. Because, here at this website, we're all about international opportunities. So I was really excited to see that someone from England had got discovered through that and what's happening for your career now. So tell me about that.
yeah. So I was filming an indie little action feature, and then I got a text from my mate being like, "Oh, we have like all of us girls from drama school have a group," and she was just like, "There's a competition, you should sign up." And I was like, "Oh, I'm too busy. I'm filming this feature." And then halfway through that, there was budget things, and they were like, "Oh, Jem, we're gonna have to kill your character off." And I was like, "Oh no, I'm gutted." But then that freed up 2 days just before the competition ended, and I was like, "Oh, I may as well just bosh this on a self tape." So I did it very rogue, like very rogue self tape. Had flowers in the background, and it was just like, okay, we'll just send it off. And it was this amazing comedy piece where this lady's like, "Oh, like I don't believe in marriage, and marriage is very silly, and all this kind of stuff." And then her boyfriend proposes halfway through, and then she's still like, "Oh my god, of course I'll marry you." And then she wants this elaborate wedding. So I sent that off, and then I got like a message asking me to do a recall. So I did the recall and was like, okay, this is exciting. So I chose a drama to contrast, and then I was told to then sit by my laptop, fill in all this paperwork, sit by my laptop, and at about 8 o'clock you're going to get a call from John Doe, and I was like, okay. So then I'm waiting by my laptop, and it's 8 minutes past 8, and I'm like, nah, I've not got it. This is awful. I'm on my own. I'm in my flat. I'm dressed from like here up, really nice, and everything down is like PJs, ready for like a nice. And then as I'm walking away, and I'm texting like my friend, being like, no, no, mate, I didn't get it. I get like this bloop bloop, and then John Doe pops up, and I'm like,
Pops up where? On your laptop?
on my laptop
On Skype?
on Skype, yeah.
I wish we'd told him about this before that, but go on, continue.
Yes, exactly. And then I was just like, oh, they're probably like, it's taken like so many minutes to talk to everyone else. And then I was like, hi. And then we had this conversation. They were like, you've won. And it was one of those things where I was like, oh my God, I've never won anything before.
Yeah.
And it was just like, and also for winning for acting, you get so many rejections. You're always hustling. To get that and just be like, here's an opportunity was just like the most amazing thing. And like, especially with such a big company in the States where, like that's part of my 5-year plan. So I'm, like I was planning to head there in 5 years once I built up a bit more of a name over here. So it was such a nice blessing to be given.
She
And then from there,
smashing your 5-year plan within a year. Look at that.
yeah, it was really really like lovely, and they're so nice over there, and they're like a big family, so they kind of welcome you in the family, and they've got other people who they're bringing up, through their sort of showcases, like Jake Choi. I went and watched his showcase, and now he's doing single parents.
Yeah.
And then so yeah, they took me out to LA, sort of maybe introduced me to everyone.
So
Introduced
they
me to
actually flew you out and put you up and everything. They brought you out there. So let me wind back a bit. So you did a self tape.
yeah.
You sent it in,
Mhm.
and then they scheduled interviews on Skype
Yeah.
where you were just hanging out, not knowing if you were going to be seen, not be seen.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, that's awesome, and that's one of the reasons why again we've built this nice little waiting room system. You'd have been sat there knowing that you were next, but
Yeah.
so that when that popped up, was there another audition? Was there just a chat? What happened in that?
It was just a chat. It was like this. Excuse me. So they basically had, someone recording on the other side. They had
Yeah.
AO Davies, and Brenda, Kelly Grant, and they, so they had it was all recording, and then they did like an introduction and sort of was like, congratulations, and they're like, we're going to start recording from now. And I was like, okay, brilliant. So then they asked me questions. They discussed a bit about ABC and what they do, and then they recorded it like we're doing now and announced it online, and then obviously like.
So they already knew at that point they were picking you.
Yeah.
It wasn't another audition.
No, I think my nerves would have probably I would
Yeah.
have had a definite nervous breakdown.
So you effectively booked that off a self tape, which is great.
Yeah.
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 Cool. That's amazing. And then you came out to LA, and what did they do for you out here? What was the because what I want to get out of this story here is that you nearly didn't submit, but you made that effort. I know you used a few words like you didn't say you were lucky, but you used a few words in that zone. But really, what I'm hearing is you made the effort. You actually you saw the thing, you took the initiative, you made the effort, and you put yourself in the mix. And that's a big deal because I mean it's a big competition.
Yeah.
We as actors could sit there and think that I've got such a small chance or whatever, but then that's every audition and every self tape. And a lot of times I feel like people will talk themselves out of the opportunity because of all the barriers to entry. Whereas really technology is making it easy for us to do these things, or easier to do these things. And so you did that, and you got the result, which was flying out to LA. And then what happened?
So I got generals with cast directors. I just want to go back to what you said. I think now in the States especially, a lot of people from Britain actually just get jobs off self-tapes.
Yes.
Like straight off the bat. No meeting producers, directors. You send off a self-tape and then you get a call, and I did one for a Channel 4 show recently too. Even in the UK, I sent off a self-tape. I didn't hear anything for 3 weeks, and then I got a call. I couldn't make it because I was filming on another project too. And then I just got a call being like, that self-tape you sent in 3 weeks ago, you've actually got the job. So it's happening more and more and more now. And so stuff like we've discussed before, setups are really important. Making sure you have a decent reader is super important. But yeah, I just wanted to cover that.
Great. Well, on that point, tell me about. So we'll go into this a little bit. You obviously do a lot of self tapes, probably even more now that America has their eyes on you because you're based in England. You're represented by Senu, right? Do you have an American agent?
I have a manager at Grandview, Priya.
Right. Yeah. So you have an American manager. You have an English agent. And your opportunities are probably coming from all around the world. So you're probably doing self tapes a lot now. How do you find a reader when you need one? And what your tips to anybody when they're doing their self tapes or when they're doing their auditions, whether it's a rehearsal to go in the room or it's your self tape. Tell us some of your tips that you've noticed that that you use or that are good for when you are rehearsing, finding a reader, and preparing for an audition.
So I'll start from the beginning, preparing for an audition. Do the work. Do your script analysis. I have a sheet that's like 2 A4 pieces of paper that I've compiled over years of, it goes into character, bullet pointing what's happening in the scene, having an overview in one sentence, going through your turning points, all your objectives, what, why, how, when. Then you go into character. Then you write whole paragraphs of your internal monologue, and then you just throw that aside, and you do not touch learning lines until that's all done. I've learned that is, for me, my structure, and then you go into a scene, and sometimes you get 3 or 4 auditions a week, and they're coming at you with 12 pages.
Sometimes a day in LA as well.
Yeah.
Especially during pilot season.
Exactly, and it's and you're trying to learn super quick, but I feel as long as I've done that work, I can sit in front of a camera, get centered, make sure I've done yoga in the morning and mindfulness, make sure you're really centered and grounded, and then look at that piece of paper. But because I've done the work, those lines come. I'm dyslexic as well, but those lines come super easy because you've done that solid groundwork before you've even started anything else. So that'd be my first thing.
Yeah.
Second thing, if you can, always get an actor, because I mean, I use my flatmate. She's amazing, and like I would be like, babe, I know it's midnight and I'm coming home from work, my part-time job, but please, can you just make a cup of tea and sit with me and read? And she'll do it, and it's fantastic. But when you get an actor across from you who, you know, you can bounce off and work with, you can just see it makes the difference.
Well, let's touch on that right now, because you just mentioned, you know, like a lot of actors, you said you came home from your part-time job in the evening at midnight, and you've got to wake your flatmate up and ask her to stay up with a cup of tea. That's not the best situation for you, right? One of the reasons we built this, now you have a friend over here in LA that you can run lines with at midnight, because it's 8 a.m. for me in the morning.
Yeah.
So I would be available. Some other readers on our site would be available, and what you're getting there is another actor, because it's like we all like to be comfortable with who we're working with, but maybe that person doesn't want to do it. They're just doing it because they feel like they deserve the favor. But we've got to really think as actors, is that our best opportunity to get the best work we need to do? Just because there's a person there doesn't mean it's the right person or it's doing us any favors for our work, you know?
No, and I mean, you'll get on set and sometimes you'll be given, you know, a tennis ball and a first AD.
Mm-hmm.
You're there like living this moment with a tennis ball.
Yeah.
So it is good practice, but I mean, when your auditions aren't coming in by the dozen, this is your opportunity to get in front of this casting director and be like, you know, I can smash this out the park.
Yeah.
So it is really, really important. And then the other thing is lighting. Like,
which you have amazing lighting right now. So yeah, show us your setup.
Just one, but I lost the other one to a light bulb that decided to melt into the frame, so I got to get another one. But yeah, it's lighting super important. I only shoot on a mobile phone because I mean this is perfect as well, but I shoot on a mobile phone because it's just convenient, and I have a little tripod.
Yeah, myself too. I even do that on my webcam because the quality is amazing these days. And the thing is, half the time, once you're sending it into your agent or they're uploading it to one of the online systems, it's getting compressed down so much anyway that if we use even, you know, like these DSLRs or, you know, Canon 5Ds or whatever, the quality's actually perfect on your mobile or your laptop anyway. The one tip I'm going to throw in here, though, always clean your lens. No, yours is fine. But I'm saying to a lot of people, I'll see them and they'll say, "Oh, my you know, my camera's a little blurry," and I'm like, "No, that's just gunk on your lens." So that's one little tip before you do your self tapes on a you know, because our phones are always in our pockets and they're getting grimy and everything, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, it could be. It's technically a really cheap lens that you are allowing yourself with a mucky like,
right.
Getting that glow, that fingerprint glow.
Right.
So yeah, lighting. Going back to yoga, I think movement and learning you can use the space. Like I did this one tape for a Disney show, which I'm sworn secrecy of, but like I was walking in and out of frame, I was ducking in and out. I mean, you don't be afraid to do that as long as you are so comfortable and you do everything and you're doing everything with conviction and you're running your objective through. You know, you've got all of this. And
right.
And the humans are interesting, and you fill the space but I mean, once you get on, it depends, because I know some casting directors are like super natural, but even then they don't mean like flat.
Yes.
You don't go flat in those. So that's one thing I've learned is movement, yoga, getting into dance. Something I've learned from kickboxing is going for bolder choices. And as long as you follow from like boxing and stuff, as long as you hit that mark and you follow through, it's just everything's just gonna like work. So you just gotta trust those bold instincts, and always throw in one tape. So do your what you think that you is best for what you've decided for what you're going for the role, and then I always throw in a bit of a curveball where I think I'm like, you know, I've put in do bolder choices. So, I think people not need to be so scared of being like, oh, this is obviously this kind of role. Like, go against the lines. Play the line. Go against the lines. Choose something different, because you're going to be. What I got told when I went to meet everyone at ABC was like, they were sat watching thousands and thousands and thousands of videos. And when I did my tape, I was like, I'm being such a weirdo. Like, I was just like, I'm just going to be dumber and weird. And they were like, oh, out of 1,000 videos, we saw you. And for me, I was like, having that bold choice of being like, well, it's going in with loads of people.
Were you doing the same? Was everyone doing the same scene for that, or did you pick your own scene?
We have I think 4 to choose from.
Okay, so it was your unique take on that scene that they really liked. Yeah.
Yeah. And and I've had instinct as well, like, trust your instincts. I've had so many people email me because they've opened the competition up this year as well, being like, shall I do it in an American accent? Shall I do it in a British accent? What pointers can you give me? What shall I say about myself that's individual? I talked about how I can walk pigs because I used to go to a school farm where I used to learn to walk pigs. Like, take initiative. Everything that makes you differentiates you from everybody else.
Right.
Like, and people need to remember that. They don't want, another clone of someone that got them already. So you've got to really hone in on just being like, what you have and everything, and your journey from when you were born to here will make you an interesting actor. And then it's just having fun and playing with it.
Yeah, I always find for myself that it's bringing myself to the role. How would I be if I had that job, or I was in that situation, or I was in that conversation? How would I be? And then I place the character on top of that. I start with me, because you can sit there and do a lot of work for a character when you're a character yourself, and you're a new unique character that you could already bring to the table. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think drama schools are great, but they do strip you. I went to Central and it stripped me a lot of that, and I was so like, I remember we did this thing where we had to tell a story, and they were like, you're picking your finger, and I was like, okay, I'll move my hand, and then it was like, oh, and you're jutting your hip out, and I was like, oh, it was done straight, and then by the end of it I was like, I am so terrified to move, and then I was then you start from scratch. But I think you've got to go back into where you were before you went to drama school and what made that
yeah. And that's what I like about the US as well, is a lot of actors continue to learn and continue to evolve here. In the US, we often don't have the grounded training that the UK has, but what I do notice slight difference is people continue to keep doing that. Even the same as what I've seen on our system on WeAudition, there's people every day doing rehearsals and self-tapes just because. Yeah. And it's something you don't have to wait until you have an audition to do. I always say you wouldn't only go to the gym the day before a race. You need to build up that skill. You need to work that muscle. So we always encourage people that if they don't have an audition coming up, pick an old one, pick a scene off TV, jump on here, do it with somebody, just to, like you do your daily yoga, do your daily practice, so that when this big opportunity hits, you are poised and ready for it,
And also, just having someone to read stuff with and bounce ideas off. Like, I'm a visual learner, so I've just done a guest day recently at Ealing Studios for Met Film School, and I was watching the students do a scene that I needed to audition for, and I was just like, oh, I want to see what it looks like, and I was just like, to them, I was like, this is the kind of stuff that's out there now, and then for me, I was like, it's nice to see different people do it, and so to have, if you could swap roles, so you go, okay, I would really like for you, on a video chat like this, to read for the role that I'm going for, and I would just like to see, a flavour that you go. You might not do what they do, but something that you might have seen in them might lead you down another little pathway, and then you've got all these little avenues that you can go down.
Definitely. And if you were to do the same scene with 4 or 5 different people, you're going to get such great different perspectives, and you're going to be ready for whatever a different director or casting director throws at you. I think, a lot of the times we do our scenes with the same people over and over again in real life because it's convenient. And, your acting career shouldn't be convenient. It should be you giving your best foot forward, I think.
And challenging yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on what kind of life you lead. you're never going to know what another person's life is, and that's, you know, the amazing thing about acting is you're jumping into these different people's lives, but you're not gonna ever see that if you're just talking to, like, if I was talking to someone who, you know, was in the same boat as me and went to drama school and blah 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 blah. Like, I'd like to talk to an actor if I was doing something, you know, with a working class role. I would, you know, I'd want to do the research. I wouldn't want to ever, you know, make any assumptions or do anything that was me going, oh, well, I think this is where the role. You know, you want to do the research,
right?
Because that what gives you the layers and the interest, and also you do the character and the person you're going to be justice, rather than just assuming something from the people that you're always talking to, you know.
And that's a great point as well, because one of the more underused parts of this website is people asking for advice. You know, we have a lot of people coming to rehearse and meet casting directors and meet agents, but there's an opportunity there to reach out. Let's say I was going to audition for Patty Jenkins. I could come on here and say, hey, has anyone worked with Patty Jenkins? You know, I would like some advice on, does she like X or Y, you know? And someone like you could come up and be like, yeah, I have firsthand experience of working with that director. You know, so it's all about sort of really using the resources out there, whether it's this site or other ways, Facebook, however, you know, to find those nuances and to help improve your character and your work, you know.
Yeah,
well,
definitely.
Gemma, what are you excited for right now? What's coming up for you?
I've just auditioned for the lead in a very big, nice, exciting show.
Okay. American or UK show?
American.
That's all you're allowed to say, right? Zip.
It's American. There's a lot coming out, so you'd never guess from that. But it's exciting. And you know what? There's some real juicy female roles out there right now.
Yeah.
And which we've, you know, I've only in the last 2 years started to receive, especially because I'm also half Chinese. So it's, you know, there's more opportunity now. And also to meet casting directors, there's a lot of people that I don't think have had the opportunity who, you know, like who are, say, from my background. And I think this platform's great for that, because a lot of casting directors are having to cast their net even wider now, because, you know, we're going global and everyone's wanting to make all these different films. The Chinese market's coming in now, which is super important. That's a whole new level.
Well, I noticed you shared something from Gina J the other day on Twitter, looking for a new actor, and you know, that's something, testament to you. You were sharing a role that probably you're right for, but you're still out there helping other actors, which is really nice to see.
We have to stick each other. You know, this tide rises together, and we've got to stick up for each other. And I think it never benefits you if you're not. If I don't get the role, it's not right for me anyway. So, right. You know, I don't think it benefits anyone to put down or, you know, or make other people feel bad for a job that you're all going. You know, it's an overly saturated market. If you start to, you know, have any bad feelings towards any other actors, the only person that you're ever going to hurt at the end of the day is yourself and your own. You know, this is a lifetime's work. And why waste it comparing yourself to others when you can be learning from others and communicating with others? So I think it's only good to, you know, the tide rises together and everyone comes up together. And it's awesome. The hard workers that will kind of, you know, all those hard workers and having positive people around you with positive habits will be the people that you will continue to then work with again and again and again. And that's only a team, you know, this whole film industry is a team thing. It's never it gets lonely as an actor, but it's never a one-person thing. I think that's a fundamental thing to remember. Like, you are relying on everybody else. Yeah. And then, you know, remind yourself, you know, to be kind to everyone else. And
well, because everyone comes up together, and the people that were, you know, it's a cliche, but the people that were the assistants to tomorrow's directors. And I'm noticing that with agents, with managers, with actors, everybody's slowly rising together. You know, I love what you just said, because one of the big values of us here at WeAudition is community. You know, there's many websites out there that are resources for actors that help actors, but what we're really trying to do is make it a community of people that get to know each other, get to help each other out, get to, you know, share in each other's successes. And so I'll just finish on this note. You have a wonderful community of actors here to help you your self-tapes. whenever you need it. So please call on them. I'm sure people will, because our actors here as well, if they're rehearsing with someone like you, they're getting the benefit as well, because we're all learning from each other. So thanks for joining me for this. It's been really helpful. And you've given everyone some great tips, and we're excited to see your next things.
Yes, I'm excited to show.
Thanks very much, Jemma. And
Great. Bye.
Bye.